Okay, let's talk about how assignments are going to be graded, how you're going to get a final grade in this class. So the first thing you need to know is that I use points grading. What that means is that each assignment you complete will be worth a certain number of points, and those will add up over the course of the semester, and the number of points you have at the end of the class will determine what your final grade is. You can find the schedule for that, how many points you need for each letter grade in the general info sheet. One of the consequences of that is that Blackboard does not like this and will give you a percentage grade that is incorrect. So ignore your percentage grade. That does not tell you how you're doing in the class. That can be very deceptive. Look at the number of points, look at how much work there's been so far, look at what you're working towards. This class has its low impact. It has a lot of small assignments. On the one hand, that's a good thing in that it means that, if you have a bad week, if you're sick, for example, and miss something, it's not going to destroy your grade. There's not, one single assignment that's everything that can make or break your semester. On the other hand, it means you need to stay on top of it. It means you need to keep turning in work consistently. You need to keep repeating those assignments, make sure you're getting those points to work towards your final grade. Next thing you need to know about assignments is for every single assignment in this class, there will be an assignment info sheet on Blackboard that tells you what to do for that assignment, how much it's worth, when it's due, where it's due. So if you have any questions about an assignment, go check the assignment info sheets. Hopefully that will answer them. If not, of course, you can email me. The biggest single category of points available is for your material responses. You're going to be completing 2 of these per week for each of the materials, the film, and typically the book. There's 13 weeks where these are due. That's 26 total. They're worth 16 points each for a total of 416 points. There's going to be more than 2 opportunities each week. There's going to be lots of bonuses, maybe 1 or 2 each week, maybe 3 bonuses some weeks. And you'll be able to use those bonuses to work ahead, so you have some flexibility later in the semester to make up for ones that you've missed or to make up for points that you might have missed. But it's important that you stay on top of these. What you don't want to do is, not do any for several weeks and end up in a hole that's then hard to dig out of. So make sure you're getting to them. They're due Sundays, 11:59 p.m. They're due to the discussion boards. And you'll read more about this on the assignment info sheet, but basically you need to complete 2 prompts for each one. So that means each week you're going to be completing a total of 4 prompts, 2 for the film, 2 for the book. And you can see the prompts on the assignment info sheet that you have to answer. There's also optional prompts on the weekly summaries for the specific ones. So there's a list of generic questions you can choose from, and then a list of specific questions for each material that you can use if you want, and you can mix and match those however you like. You're also going to complete a lecture response each week. There isn't one due this week because that would be to these videos, and these videos are too boring to respond to. But they're going to be worth 8 points. Again, 13 weeks of the semester. They're due Fridays, 11:59 p.m., total of 144 points. And those are pretty simple. Again, you'll see the question and assignment info sheets. Basically, I want you to highlight something you thought was interesting or important in the lecture and say a little about it as a way of demonstrating that you watch the lecture videos and also giving me some information about, what people are getting from them. You'll also have a quiz every Monday. There are 15 points per quiz, 14 of those total for 210 points. Those quizzes are on the lecture from the previous week and the materials from the previous week. So you have the lectures due Friday, the material response due Sunday, and then the quiz on Monday on those 2 things that you just did. In all of these categories, the material responses, the lecture responses, I'm pretty lenient with grading. It's fairly easy to get most of the points. It can be hard to get the, maximum points. But, if you do a fairly decent job and show that you've engaged with the material, you'll get good points on these. I'm also not looking for you to have the answers. It is fine and good to question on these, to not understand things. If your material response, and you see some of the prompts to this, is about how you didn't understand part of the book, or you didn't like the film, or you disagreed with it, or you're confused by it, or you still have questions, that's fine, that's great. You know, you're not expected to show that you've got everything perfectly, that you're, 100% with them. And, we have a lot of different perspectives here. I don't agree with everything every author says or every film we watch says. So, I'm not expecting you to provide the single right answer here. What I'm looking for is for you to demonstrate that you really engaged with it and thought about it. That's the important thing for getting a good grade on these. We also have some larger assignments. We'll learn more about these as the semester goes on, but we're going to produce a wiki together about the events of the past few months and some of the things that have come out of them. You've probably noticed that there have been a lot of changes in America, protests, people responding to protests, and we're going to look at what's happened, what successes they've had, and we're going to make some connections back to the material from that, so you're going to be doing that assignment. You're also going to be doing 2 videos over the course of the semester, and you'll post those, and then those are graded, and then there's a final, which is basically a big quiz online. So those are the larger things. As I say, you'll get assignment info sheets on those as the semester goes. My late work policy is that I accept late work on everything except material responses. Late work will lose 10% of the maximum possible grade per day it is late. So if you're turning something in, the day after the deadline, the impact is very small. You're going to get 90% almost all of the points, right? If you're waiting longer, then it really starts to damage it. But that means you shouldn't, not turn something in just because you're a day late, or at any point, because you can still earn most of the points on it. The material responses I don't accept late for 2 reasons. One is that you need them in order to engage with the class, right? That's the reason they're due before the week is so that you're ready for the discussions we're going to have. And then the other reason is that there's extra opportunities. There's a lot of flexibility with that, so if you can't get one in on time one weekend, you'll be able to make it up at a different point. For extensions, I almost always grant extensions. To request an extension, you need 2 things. First, you need to request a specific new due date. So I don't just grant open-ended extensions, I grant extensions until a certain date. Pick one that is realistic for you when you think you can get it done by. And then also I need you to tell me a little bit about your plan for getting it done by then. So a request for an extension might be, I can't get it done in time, I think I can get it done by next Friday, and that's because I have a pretty easy day on Wednesday and I'll have time to work on it, plus I'll have a little extra time on Thursday and I think I'll be able to get it in then. Something like that. Show me that you have thought about how you're going to get it done. What I don't need for extensions is a reason. You don't need to convince me that you had a good reason to need an extension. If you need an extension, that's fine. I don't need evidence that, someone close to you got hurt or that you were sick or whatever it is. I don't need you to provide me with evidence for that. I believe you that if you need an extension, you have a good reason for it. It's your reason, so it's a good one. Again, I don't offer extensions on material responses for the same reasons I don't accept them late. There are 70 extra points in the class. If you look at the math on the general info sheets, you'll see there's more points total than you need to get the highest possible grade. And so that gives you a little bit of wiggle room. That means that you can potentially miss an assignment or not do so well in an assignment or something and still do very well in the class. That basically adds up to a bit of extra credit for everything. I don't offer any additional extra credit beyond that, but that does mean you have some flexibility in how you approach the class. Last point is attendance. We're not taking attendance this semester. If you're sick, you need to stay home. It's very important. You don't come to class if you're sick. And obviously there's going to be a lot of challenges people face, so we don't want to be punishing anyone for that. That said, I highly recommend you do your best to engage with the class regularly, to make sure you're checking in online every week, multiple times a week, to make sure you're keeping up, to make sure you're coming to class if you can, if you're healthy to do so. Because you will find if you don't do that, you'll have trouble. It'll put you in a position where it is difficult for you to do well. So we're not taking attendance, there's no attendance requirement, but I really recommend that you do your best to attend, whatever that means, online on a regular basis. Again, email me if you have any questions about any of this. Thank you.